For over 30 years, All-Safe has developed top-quality pool safety products, with our Hampton and Malibu Mesh being among the toughest in the industry. Our Malibu Mesh is a tighter weave and is also known as 10x10. Our Hampton Mesh is a more open weave and is also known as 5x7. The numbers are a reference to how many squares of mesh are in a square inch. Both types of mesh replacement come in 4 foot and 5 foot, and the rolls are 15 foot in length. And yes, they are compatible with other manufacturers' mesh fencing. If your pool fence mesh is in need of refresh or repair, this video will walk you through how to replace it and how to get your removable mesh pool fence looking like new and safe again. The second most common reason for damaged mesh is the exhaust manifold on a leaf blower. And coming in at number 1, I think Buster is about to plead guilty. This video will walk you through how to replace either a full section or just a short stretch of mesh in your layout. To get started, you'll need enough replacement mesh for your project and a few basic tools: a cordless drill, a number 2 Phillips for the classic fence, or a number 2 square drive for the ultra, a tape measure, a China marker, a good pair of scissors, and a utility knife. Before you dive in, we recommend watching our Cuts video series. It'll help determine whether your project needs any additional materials based on the type of cut you'll be making. A full 15-foot section will be the most straightforward, so let's go over this first. Start by removing the screws and moldings on each pole, and then dispose of the damaged mesh. Then attach the new mesh to the first pole. This can be done with the pole in the deck, but it's much easier to do on the ground with a tarp or cardboard to keep the pole from getting scratched. Line up the top of the molding and the top of the border. You should also see the entire thread along the side of the molding. Next, take a section screw and screw it into the top hole of the molding and then through the top of the border. Then screw the molding and the mesh to the pole. Lift the molding and put your foot between the molding and the mesh. Push down on the bottom of the molding. This will create an arc which will allow you to screw the section screw and molding into the bottom of the mesh. Removing your foot will stretch the mesh, helping remove wrinkles and give it a factory fresh finish. Now you can screw the bottom screw, molding and mesh into the pole, then finish off the rest of the screws. Set the pole in the deck and in the same way attach the pole on the opposite side of the mesh. Insert the pole into the deck and then attach each side with a section latch or quick lock latch so your fence will be under full tension. Make a mark on the bottom border in the middle of the second pole and then measure the mark from the first pole. Transfer the measurement to the top border. Pre-screw a section screw into the top hole of the molding and then send it through the top border at your mark so that your border is slightly above the molding. Screw the molding and the mesh to the pole. Here's a pro tip. Always be careful with these sharp screws. They should be going into the material, not your fingers. Next, pre-drill a hole on the bottom border just above the second thread from the bottom on your mark. Then preset a section screw in the bottom hole of the molding. Give the molding a slight bow and insert the screw into the hole in the border. Just like the foot method, bowing the molding will temporarily shorten the molding and allow you to easily insert the screw into the bottom border. Releasing the bow and flattening out the molding will stretch the mesh, giving it a factory fresh look. Next, screw the bottom molding and border into the pole. Don't insert any of the other section screws into the molding yet. This will be done as the last step. Repeat the process of measuring and attaching the moldings onto the poles at the top and bottom until all the moldings are attached. Double check that your fence is attached at every section break, wall attachments, termination points, and gate trusses. The last step is to screw all the remaining section screws into the moldings, and you're finished. The 15-foot section is the most straightforward because the first and last pole are attached to the moldings on the border, and then when inserted into the deck, they hold the mesh tight for the remaining 4 poles. The next mesh replacement will be a section of fence that has one panel shorter than 36 inches. This process is slightly more challenging and involves making a cut. A cut is a method of shortening a section of fence to fit a specific smaller section in the layout. Be sure to watch all 3 cut videos and choose one that best fits your skill level. To start, make note of which pole has the factory border. After you've unscrewed the moldings and removed the damaged mesh, attach a pole on the side of the section that has a factory border. Again, this is easiest done on the deck with the foot method. Once you've attached the mesh, slide the pole into the deck and attach the section latch or quick lock latch. Pull the mesh tight around the first pole and then mark the bottom of the border in the middle of the pole. Measure your mark from the previous pole and then transfer that measurement to the top border and then make a mark. Preset a section screw into the top of the molding and then screw it through the top border at your mark, making sure that the top of the border is just above the molding, and then screw it into the pole. Pre-drill the bottom border on the mark just above the second thread from the bottom. Screw a section screw into the bottom hole of the molding. Bow the molding and screw the section screw into the pre-drilled hole. Flattening out the molding will stretch the mesh and allow you to screw the molding and the mesh into the bottom of the pole. Continue this process, only attaching the moldings at the top and the bottom until you reach the shorter panel in this section. You will measure and mark the bottom and then the top border as you have been doing, but at this point you need to decide which type of cut you will do. Insert the pole into the deck and then attach each side with a section latch or quick lock latch so your fence will be under full tension. Once you have the mesh pulled tight with the completed cut and have all the section screws into the molding of the cut, you can finish off the mesh repair by screwing the remaining section screws into the moldings. And of course, the job isn't complete until you've checked that the gate and the fence system is in working order. Repaired right and safe again. That's the All-Safe way.